Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to work with less structured type of data. We're going to make some transformation to that data. One of the good things about working with a Power BI is that it allows you to work with any format of data. This is the data we're going to work with. The way the data is at the moment, it looks kind of like a matrix type of setup. So we've got on the top here, we've got like the cities like Seattle, Portland, Vancouver, and then we've got the different product categories also listed. And then underneath them, we've got the actual values, which represent the sales that were made. The objective of the transformation we're going to do, we're going to try and format this data so we have it represented in a year column, and then we've got the category column, we'll have the city column, and then we'll have the actual values which represent the sales. This is because Power BI Desktop works best in data that is column based. So let's go ahead and connect to this data and start making the transformation. So I've got my Power BI Desktop open. So let's connect to the actual Excel sheet. So I'll click on the Get Data option and we'll wait for it to pop up. Make sure you've got Excel selected, and then we'll click Connect, and that will browse to my data source. So this is my data source, which is the Excel spreadsheet. So I'll click on it and I'll click Open, and that will connect and open the actual data in the sheet. So I'm going to click on this checkbox here so that we can see the data in the actual Excel spreadsheet. So this is what the data look like. So we're going to obviously transform it. So I'm going to click on Edit, and we'll wait for it to launch the Power Query Editor. So this is what the data looks like inside the Power Query Editor. If we take a look on the right here under Applied Step, you can see these promoted headers and this change type. So this was not actually done by me, it was automatically done. But I want to delete these two steps. So I'm going to click Change Type to delete and delete the promoted headers. The next thing we need to do is flip this table around so that the columns will appear as rows and the rows will appear as columns. To do that, click on this Transform tab, and then there's an option to transpose. So click on Transpose, and you can see now here on the side now we now have like cities, and then we have what used to be columns now rows, and what used to be rows is now represented as columns. The next thing I want to do is just change the names of the columns. So I want to use the first rows as the names for the columns. So under here, you click on the drop down. There's an option here to use first row as headers. You can either do it from here or you can do it from this area here. So I'm going to click Use First Row as Headers. Click on that. You can see here is representing each year as a column name. So 2005, 6, 7, and so on. And then we've got these two columns, column 1 and then column 2. What we're going to do, we're going to rename column 1 as City. So I'm going to right click and click on Rename, and we'll call that City. I'll click on column 2, right click, rename. I will call that the product category. If we take a look at the city column, we have some null values. One of the things we can do with them is we can fill in any null values with the value just above it. And to do that, there's an option here in the ribbon area. If you notice, there's this option called Fill. So if we click on the drop down, we can either fill down or up. In this case, we're going to do down. And you can see here, it has replaced the null values. The next thing I want to do is with these columns that I've got the years, what I want to do, I want a column to represent the value, and then I want another column which has the repeated data for each year. And to do that, we have to unpivot the columns. So there's an option here to unpivot the columns. So I'm going to select all the columns with the year on it. So I'll click the first one and then click the Control on my keyboard and then select all the columns with the years on it. So there is more here. I just click on that. I think there's one more to 2013. So once I've got all that selected, on the ribbon area here, there's an option to unpivot columns. Click on the drop down and then click on pivot, and then you'll see what happens. So you can see what happens here. It has separated each of the years. So you can see now we've got the year. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change the name of this column from attribute to years. So let's change that to year. All right. And then we've got the value. So you can see by unpivoting the column, we're able to have the year for each of the categories. So 2005, we can see the values for the bikes from Seattle and so on. So the way I've structured this now, it makes it easier for the Power BI to work with and create visualization from that. This column here called null, don't need that. I'm just going to remove that. Right click and remove. So now we have city, we have category, got year, and got the value. So these are the columns I want, and Power BI will be able to work with them better because they are all column-based data. In this column here, I'm going to change the value to whole number. So I right click and I select whole number. So I'm happy with the transformation. Next thing to do is to apply it so that it is brought into the Power BI desktop. So click on the Home tab and click on this Close and Apply, and then click on Close and Apply, and we'll wait for the query to be applied and the data will be brought in. So you can see here the data has been brought into the Power BI desktop. So we have the category column, city column, value, and year, and we can create visualization from this transform data model. So let's try and do that. So I'm just going to create some visualization here. So I'll drag that there, the year, and I will drag the category into it, and I will drag the city into it. So by doing that, we see we've got some visualization. So we can tell from these are the keys, so we can tell which city had the most sales for each of the categories. You can also change the visualization type. So I can come here and make it this type of chart, which is a stacked column chart. I can do it that way if I want. Just change the visualization to suit what you want, depending on the visualization that suits you. All right, so feel free to play around. So by transforming the less structured data into a column-based format, we're able to use the Power BI desktop to create meaningful visualization for that data. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.